Kundalini, earth energy, Gaia energy, raw primal life force comes up into our body through our root, our perineum, the soft piece of skin between our sexual organs and our anus. This energy comes into our sacral chakra, which is about safety, security, family, money, and sex. So this energy can feel sexual, and we can generate a lot of power here that moves up into our navel area, allowing us to be and feel powerful. On one dimension of our spine, and our spine has lots of different dimensions, but on the path of Kundalini, we all have an energetic block between our upper chakras and our lower chakras. This block keeps us safe until we are ready to connect to our power, because earth energy, Gaia energy, comes up through us, and divine universal energy comes down into us, and we meet in the middle. We meet in the middle because we are heart-based beings, and we are designed to create and manifest life through our hearts. But if we have pain, fear, and trauma in our body, and we take this block away, then instead of using this power to create a beautiful dream, we create a nightmare. We start to manifest all of our pain, fear, and trauma. It's why a lot of people who have early Kundalini risings say it was a horrible experience, or they go a bit mad, and why many people in mental hospitals are actually having spiritual experiences, but are being misunderstood. They are simply creating their reality from a place of fear. We need to take the pain, fear, and trauma out of the body before we can truly live from our heart and have access to our full power. But this often means going into and feeling our darker and shadow emotions so that we can transform them. This is why emotional self-development is not always easy, and why many people struggle when their Kundalini starts to wake up. They are being faced with all of their shadows, dark desires, and addictions. Our Kundalini waking up like this forces us to look at ourselves, but in doing so, we risk taking steps backwards into regression. Most people in prisons, mental hospitals, and rehab need shadow work, self-love, acceptance, and forgiveness just as much, if not more, than they do medication and incarceration. Learning to change our breath to develop emotional intelligence takes practice, whereas the actual act itself is incredibly simple. The difficult part is in relaxing our mind enough for our emotional body to take over and express. So the first step is learning to feel our emotions with deep belly breathing. This practice is not going to give us abdominal muscles or a six-pack, but it is going to give us emotional intelligence. The fear is that when we do this, when we relax our body and our stomach so much while surrendering to our breath, that we will forget what we were going to say and that our mind will lose control. And it's true, on one hand we do forget what we were going to say and our mind does lose control. But what really happens is we change what we were going to say. We change it because we allowed emotional information in to shape our thoughts. The breathing and bodywork techniques that we are learning are simple. What takes practice is integrating them into our daily life, using them when we are having a conversation, arguments, or are stressed. This takes practice and often coaching. But the experiences and self-understanding that we can generate by unlocking conscious awareness from our mind, thus learning to truly feel our feelings and have conversations and communication with them, is liberating. I sincerely believe that developing emotional intelligence, along with our mental intelligence, physical bodies, and technology, is essential if the human race are to evolve in a healthy, balanced, and sustainable way. The block between our solar plexus and our heart, upper chakras and lower chakras, is an energetic one that stops surges of energy moving through us. And this block is often supported by our thoughts, beliefs, and behaviors. Many of us have a multitude of blocks in our body, blocks that stop us fully applying ourselves to a task, to meditating, exercising, talking with people, being authoritative or rebellious, stopping us from saying yes or no. Sometimes these behaviors are fundamental to our personality and we should accept them. But often they are mental, emotional, and energetic blocks with a physical correlation that we can remove. We don't want to take away all of these blocks at once. They give us resistance. They give us something to push up against, and we want this. Some of these blocks are keeping us safe, and they are there for a reason. So it is best to know the reasons before letting them go. Eventually, what we want is a fully open and flowing energetic body, an open heart with full access to our power, our self-expression, intuition, and our free will. But getting there is a process, and it's important to find pleasure within the process, making our journey equally, if not more important than the destination. We create alignment by creating more trust between our heart, our mind, and our sex, by including our sexuality. Including our sexuality makes the healing process more fun and pleasurable, thus effective, stopping us falling into head versus heart, heart versus sex, sex versus head, or any other unhelpful polarity by integrating them. The work we are doing is not going to give you a Kundalini rising or instant enlightenment, but if you are struggling with symptoms related to an early Kundalini rising or other mental and emotional disorders, then this work will help balance out your system, providing it is accompanied with good diet and exercise. We are working to expand our energetic body, the health of our chakras, and the strength and vibrancy of our electromagnetic field. But this has to happen while also supporting the growth of our physical bodies and, importantly, our nervous system. Think of it as lifting weights and stretching. They go against each other, but doing both gives us the best body. So, to recap, we're taking away the block between our solar plexus and our heart that keeps us safe. So when working, we generally find most of our negative emotions in the lower 3 energy centers, the ones before our heart. This is why some people find breathing into their stomach so difficult. These energy centers are about primal life force, family, money, safety, security, and sex. When we do a lot of yoga practices and Kundalini practices, we use locks and holds in our body, called bandhas. These bandhas bring energy to a certain point and then lock it in, allowing us to move to the next point in our body, spine, where we can lock the energy in again until eventually we reach the head. And once accomplished, out of our head into samadhi, a feeling of temporary enlightenment and bliss, or what the tantrics call Shiva and Shakti merging, where consciousness merges with energy. But by only doing this practice, bypassing our lower emotions, the more animalistic driving forces within ourselves, we start to bypass our fear and our shadow, because we want to come straight into our heart. There are some schools of Tantra, such as Osho's school, which teaches us that the feminine's path of Kundalini starts in the heart, and then moves down into the genitals, then our root, and then back up the spine, with the masculine pathway starting in the root and going straight up. This is a great analogy and makes a lot of sense in relation to the predominant erogenous zones, the turn-on points, between the sexes. But whatever happens, if we are a man or a woman, we still need to go into our belly, feel what we feel, and do our shadow work to have a healthy and authentic relationship with our heart, creating alignment and accessing our power. When working with this energy, one of the most important things for us to do is to have a good sense of grounding. Some people who identify as being spiritual, although we are all spiritual beings, are terribly ungrounded. It's almost like they are scared of being in their body, so hiding in spirituality. We all need to have done our shadow work and have developed a sense of grounding through our connection to Gaia, Mother Earth, feeling safe in our bodies and at peace with our inner animal, the part of us that, when unintegrated, may desire to kill, rape, murder, or abuse. We need to go into this part and give it space. We need to allow it to express so that we can change the vibration in our lower chakras, so that when this energy comes up through our body, we are safe. We have dealt with it already. By giving it a loving and trusting space to transform within us. Once we have done this personal development, being human and activating our Kundalini becomes much easier and safer.